Gems from the Gita, the longest relationship. The only permanent relationship a human being has is that with God. So one must invest maximum energy in strengthening the bond with God. The strength of this relationship with God will strengthen every relationship as one will have fewer expectations and enjoy a blissful relationship with everyone around. When we partially surrender to God, He bestows partial grace on us. But when we surrender completely to God, He bestows complete grace by preserving what we have and providing what we lack. Surrender with love is all that we need to do. When we water the roots of a plant, the whole plant gets nourishment as the roots transport the water and minerals to all parts of the plant. But if you water the leaves of the plant, it does not benefit any part of the plant at all. Similarly, if we worship the Supreme Almighty, the Divine God, it is like watering the whole plant. If we worship specific God for specific gains, like wealth or health or knowledge, we are only bestowed with that specific aspect of life, and our entire existence is not uplifted. Worshipping other gods is the indirect route to God's realization. It is necessary to follow the direct path and realize the divine as early as possible. Worshipping other gods is like meeting ministers with specific portfolios for being granted specific permissions. Devotees are only elevated to the level of the entity they worship. The worshippers of celestial gods take birth among celestial gods. Worshippers of ancestors take birth amongst ancestors, and worshippers of ghosts take birth amongst ghosts. And the worshippers of the divine God, they merge with the divine God on completion of the duties on this earth. Now God is impartial. In whatever way one surrenders to God, He reciprocates in that manner. Just like the rainwater falls on everything on the earth without any discrimination, but it depends upon the recipient what would be the outcome of the same rainwater. When it falls on plants, the plants get nourished and grow in abundance. When it falls in the gutter, the dirty water increases. When it falls in the oyster, it turns into a pearl. God is equally available to all beings. Those who do not love Him wholeheartedly receive partial grace, and those who surrender themselves completely experience the total grace and protection of God. Now, those who have committed innumerable sins in life, if they also surrender to God completely, God forgives them for the sins and takes them into His divinity. The Hindi proverb, "Sau chuhe khakar billi haj ko chali," is completely relevant here. This proverb means that after eating 100 mice, the cat is going on a pilgrimage. This chapter motivates us towards this essence and says even after eating 100 mice at least, now the cat has finally started its journey towards God. In the same way, we humans may commit several sins. Now some knowingly and some unknowingly. This is part of the learning process. We must learn from every action and slowly move our attention towards God realization. Krishna said in the Gita that anyone who offers Him a leaf, a flower, a fruit, water, or anything with love and devotion, He not only accepts it, but eats the offerings. The Gita 9.26. That is why we always offer our food to God with a prayer before we eat it. Food offered to God is called prasada or prasadam. Anyone can reach God who worships Him with faith, love, and devotion. Now, this path of devotion is open to all of us. At this juncture, let us remind ourselves of the story of Namdev. A noble man used to worship his family's deity every day with food offerings. Now, one day, he had to go out of his village for the day. He said to his son, "Namdev, give the offering to the deity today. See that God is fed." The boy offered food to the deity in the shrine, but the image would neither eat, nor drink, nor talk. Namdev waited a long time, but still the image did not move. But he totally believed that God would come down from his throne in heaven, sit on the floor and eat. Again and again he prayed to the deity saying, "Oh Lord, please come down and eat the food. It is already very late. My father will get angry if I do not feed you." Now the deity did not say a word. The boy wept and cried, "Oh Lord, my father asked me to feed you. Why don't you come down? Why don't you eat from my hands?" The boy wept for some time with a longing soul. At last, the deity came down smilingly from the altar in human form, sat before the meal and ate it. After feeding the deity, the boy came out of the prayer room. His relatives said, "The worship is over. Now bring the prasadam for us." The boy said, "God has eaten everything. He did not leave anything for you today." They entered the prayer room and were speechless with wonder to see that the deity had really eaten every bit of the offering. The moral of the story is that God does eat if you offer food with love, faith, and devotion. We must attempt to have the faith that Namdev had. It is said that we must have faith in God like a child, or we shall not enter the supreme abode, the house of God.